I think when I hear people saying they want to abolish the police, what I hear is that second part that you mentioned, as we know it, right? Which is to say, the way that we've chosen to design and implement policing in the United States is not the way policing must exist. And we know that's not the way it must exist because it's not the way it exists everywhere in the world, right? There are police officers in Western countries where everyone is not carrying around a gun, let alone military-style assault weaponry, right? Where they're not equipped with tanks, right? Where they're not getting more funding than schools or other kinds of officials, right?
GDP of an entire country.
Right. And so we can, when I hear people saying abolish the police, what I think I hear them saying is actually something more akin to reform. I think you hear a lot of people saying, we want police. We want police. However, we want responsible police. We want police that are respectful. We want police that are accountable. We want police that actually safeguard people. We want police that are effective at reducing murder. We want police that are effective at reducing crime. We want police that are not complicit in drug crime and gun crime and the kinds of things that we've heard about in places like Baltimore. That's what people want. And in theory, you can have a police force like that because those kinds of police forces exist.
Around the world.
We've chosen as a polity in many cases not to design or operate our police in that way, and that is a choice we do not have to make. So when people are saying they want to abolish police, I think they're saying they want to abolish the manifestation that has become in some ways quintessentially American,
Right.
And does not need to exist that way. And there are some indicators that that kind of policing can be done away with and can redound to the benefit of the community, right? So I think about Camden and its initiative to reform the police and change the way that they worked fundamentally. There are other cities and localities experimenting with not necessarily changing or getting rid of a police force, but changing the things that they respond to. And that statute that was passed in Virginia as a result of Marcus David Peters' murder is one example of that, right? So police are being called to deal with mental health crises. They're not mental health professionals, right? They're being called to deal with schoolyard fights. They're not teachers. They're being called to deal with all manner of things that fall outside of what historically or spatially, when we look around the world, are not ordinary policing functions and don't need to be policing functions, right? Because we have other professionals in our society that are better suited to handle those things than police are. And I think if we allow for the possibility that those other people do their job well, then we won't be getting rid of police. We will be optimizing police to do what they are perhaps distinctly, uniquely capable of doing for societies, right? Which is protecting people and ensuring compliance with, appropriate, legitimate laws.